Well, Patrick's glasses are clean, it looks like. There's Bob.
So guys, okay.
Double O.
And then,
Okay, you're unmuted now and you're live.
Okay, well,
Okay.
good morning, everyone. So let's get this show on the road. This is a special regular meeting. Primary purpose of which is to have a discussion around our draft strategic plan. Due notice of the meeting was provided by the clerk. I'm here, Deputy Mayor is here, Councillor Holloway is here, and Councillors Taylor and Chadwick are here virtually. So we have a quorum. So I will call this this special regular meeting to order. We're going to dispose with reading of prior meeting minutes and other items that you would normally see on the agenda because this is a special meeting. We'll pick all that up again when we have our council meeting on, I think it's June 11th. Does anyone wish to claim a disclosure of interest at this point in time? Hearing none, I'd like someone to bring forward a motion to approve the agenda. The only change I would like to make is I would like to put the new business possible action up before we get into the strategic plan, so we can just knock those four things off real quick. And then just devote the rest of our time to the strategic plan. So that would be the only amendment to the agenda. Could I have a motion then to approve the amended agenda? Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Holloway. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so the first item of business is the gravel tender. Can I have a motion to approve the recommendation made by the clerk? Deputy Mayor Bridger, seconded by
Chadwick.
Councillor Holloway. Any discussion on this one? This is the one from Danford's, 115,000. Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Next item of business is a supply of winter sand. Can I have a motion to approve the recommendation made by the clerk? Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Chadwick. Any discussion on this one? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye, carried. Surface treatment. Can I have a motion to approve the recommendation made by the clerk relating to Greenwood paving limit? Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Holloway. Any discussion on this one? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye, carried. The last item of business relates to a municipal dog pound. And there's been a recommendation made by the clerk. Can I have a motion to approve the recommendation made by the clerk? Councillor Chadwick, seconded by No seconder. Can we have it seconded just for discussion then? Counselor Holloway. Okay, let's open it up for discussion. Nancy, did you want to lead on the discussion of this one? Just give people a little bit of background.
So to date, we haven't had a pound agreement, hadn't become an issue until just recently. It's something I'd looked into once or twice with the Humane Society in Belleville, and then with the the municipal pound group in the north here. We had a situation with 4 large breed dogs being dropped off in our township and having to deal with them. So it's brought to light that some kind of an agreement needs to be in place. And the municipal pound that's located in the Bancroft area is willing to take us is willing to let us into their agreement, or may be willing to allow us to enter into an agreement for their services. The costs associated with that, I think it's $2.50 per person. So they do use StatsCan population as their factor for figuring it out. So it's a fair costing for the service that they provide. I'm not sure what else I can say with regards to it. It's something that we obviously are going to need somewhere for these animals to go.
Yeah, this one was, I mean, this came to light. I can't remember now, Nancy, the exact days, but all of a sudden I was getting phone calls from the provincial animal welfare hotline, because this situation had escalated on social media, and it was out there and people were picking it up, and Mr. Mayor, what are you going to do about it? I said, well, I'm going to be speaking to my clerk. We'll see if we can get on it. I said, I'm in Vancouver right now. I'm not able to deal with it personally, but we'll put things in play. I understand we have a responsibility to deal with this.
Oh, only because we have a bylaw for animals running at large, for dogs running at large. Yeah.
So only because we have a
I
bylaw.
believe so, yes.
So what are our options then? If we didn't have a bylaw?
I don't know. As far as I know, that we have, because we have animals running at large bylaw, that we have to address it.
But if we rescind that bylaw. Sad.
Well, I don't think that's gonna help you, from a
Yes.
social media perspective, and
Or-
what's the township
Or
do?
residents, yeah, like,
Residents, like one of these, 2 of these dogs that Nancy referred to had porcupine quills, and people had taken pictures of them and they were posting them on Facebook and social media, and all of a sudden, the Tudor and Cashel, like, what's going on? So I'm not sure that just rescinding a bylaw means that gets us off the hook of dealing with this socially.
and they were not just socially, they were it was a safety concern for our residents as well, right? Like these animals running at large, not just these, if it happens again, right? To have something in place.
None of these were owned by residents of Tudor.
Not that we're
Well, we
aware
don't
of.
know that. We don't know that it wasn't a backyard breeder that just, turned them out into the wild.
We don't know where they came.
We don't know where they came. One of the things I would like to do is see pictures of these things posted, so that, the residents can see them and maybe tell us who they belong to. Like right now, there's no accountability. If people want to dump a dog here, they dump a dog here. It's been a problem. I mean, I've been here 45 years, and there's people that come up here and hunt. They buy dogs or they rent dogs. They bring them up here, and when the hunt's over, they just let them go. So it's not the first time that this has happened. So
I wasn't suggesting that we do rescind the bylaw, but it seems that we have no option to do anything except to go forward with the clerk's recommendation, because we have a bylaw. Right? So that was the only thing, is like, if we did this, so I wasn't suggesting we do it, it's just that we have no choice in that.
Well, if we do find out who the owners are, are we positioned to impose fines?
If it was a taxpayer, a ratepayer in our township,
Does the bylaw allow for that?
yes.
I haven't read the bylaw, I apologize.
But if they're from outside. We have nothing, there's no Humane Society, nobody else can go after them.
I've not found anything yet, and I was asking the pound keeper what they do, because there was information in one of these animals, but there's no repercussions. They say that they're not theirs. There you go.
So is this $6,000 allocation? Is that we pay that regardless of whether we have any dogs in the pound or not?
So the $6,000 was an estimate of what it's going to cost overall. The actual pound, what you're offering, what I'm asking for at this point is, I think, just around $2,000.
Yeah, it's $1,900. So, so can we not just treat this as kind of a, like, I don't want to be looking at us setting up an arrangement where we're paying fees kind of on a standby basis or a retainer basis, simply to have a place for whatever stray dogs we happen to pick up. So this agreement is that we pay as we go. If we don't have any dogs, we don't pay anything, or what is this agreement that we're entering with?
No, it would be it would be based on your population and annual fee.
Okay, so we
So
pay
that we have
regardless.
somewhere, yes, so we have somewhere for animals to go.
This would be, so somebody phones in and says, there's a stray animal, what do I do?
You say.
Call
take it
this
to-
number.
Or you take it to the pound. You
Or
can
you
take it to this
you take
pound.
it- But does somebody come and pick it up?
So that was what the other costs
That's
associated, and
the-
that's to be discussed. I don't have anything sorted with regards to someone getting the animal, but this would be so that when someone calls and says, I have an animal here, at least it has somewhere that we can take it to be out, take it.
So that's step one, and then they say, well, I don't want to touch the animal,
Then-
I need somebody to come and pick
Yes.
it up and take it to the pound.
Right, and I'll be bringing something, I haven't got anything formally worked out with regards to that yet.
And that's what this potential $6,000 is for. And
Yes,
in this last incident, you used the guy down in Center Hastings who
right,
came and picked one of them up. But I
took
think-
two, he had two.
And didn't you pick one up or?
I went and helped him transport the one, yes.
I mean, this is just one of these things where we need a number to call when it happens.
Well, I think we should, we've got an issue right now that needs to be remedied. So I think I would tend to look at this as, let's do what we need to do to be able to provide the township to be able to pay the $1,900 for the 3 or 4 dogs that we currently have. But I think we need to revisit the entire bylaw. I think we need to kind of look at this to seeing that I'm not conversant with whatever the bylaw is for stray animals. Maybe we need to update that and have a better plan in place and some other different options in place. And we need time to be able to do that.
Agreed.
I'm fine with that.
But I
But as
think your
far as
first.
setting up the $1,900 to just move forward with.
Yeah.
Here's what you do. If you find one, here's what you do. You take it to this pound.
Mhm. So so basically what I need is from council is a resolution that's kind of what's in there, is that I've been directed by council to ask to enter into the agreement for the dog pound. I don't think you're gonna find a better agreement for a pound than that. Like, because I know what the Humane Society charges for municipalities to join, and it's significantly more.
And then you'll bring back further recommendations on.
Yeah, I'm working with other municipalities to see if we can come up with something that we can work together.
Okay, so. I think we asked for a motion to. Accept the clerk's recommendation, and that recommendation was to join the municipal dog pound. With the acknowledgement the fees for the entire 2024 year would be due. That's the $1,900.
Right.
That's all we got on the table. Any further discussion on that one? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Carried. Okay, I think that wraps up the business that Nancy wanted to put on this agenda. So,
Did I,
yeah,
Nancy, do we have to do something about moving the surplus tires back in or,
I'm not doing that today.
oh, okay.
Okay, so today's meeting is really all about our draft strategic plan and discussion. There was quite a bit of material that was sent out in advance of the meeting. What I'd like to do is just have somebody make a motion to receive all of that material. And then we'll start that discussion on the draft strategic plan. So can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Followed- Seconded by Councillor Chadwick, all in favor, carried. Okay. So how do you want to go about this? We've got the chairman of the strategic planning committee here. We've also got Carrie on the line. How do you want to proceed with this review today? I'll just throw it out there.
Carrie?
Did I believe, Mr. Mayor, that we should use it as an opportunity to go through it fairly quickly, page by page, and ask questions, particularly directed through Carrie or other members of the committee. We also have another member of the committee on, Patrick is here as well. And I don't want to get into a wordsmithing war on it. I don't think that's going to be valuable. What the committee will do is take any direction from council and then rework it one more time and bring back a final product.
So what you're looking for today then, Councillor Chadwick, is like a page turn with feedback from members of council. Is that correct?
Feedback and questions, yes.
Okay. Well, if you'd like, I can try and facilitate that.
Yes, I think that's quite appropriate, yeah.
So, why don't we start? Page 1, the beautiful picture of the buck on it. Did anybody have any comments, questions, concerns, input? I had one right off the hop, okay, which is probably not going to surprise anybody, but what I would like to see right on that front page is what I call the tagline for this township. Everybody knows that other communities have taglines. Wildly authentic, whatever it is. I'd like to see that tagline right on the front page. I've talked about in the past how maybe we have a contest with our residents to see who can come up with the best tagline. I don't know what it is, but somebody did send one to me at one point in time and said, secluded beauty, connected community. The township of Tudor and Cashel. So my only feedback on the first page is I'd like to see a tagline, something that I can identify that's simple and sort of talks about who we are. That would be my my comment on the first page.
If I may, I'm just wondering, I know that the Hastings County has done Wildly Authentic, and it was hoping that each of the townships would take something similar to that. Do we know what other townships are using as their tagline, and would you like to follow suit, or would you like to have this contest?
Well, I'm just trying to find the Hastings County strategic plan. I know I brought it with me. Because, they've got two taglines. What did I do with that? They've got one that you see at the side of the road. And on their strategic plan, it's, supporting people in our communities. when you drive along the highway, it's Hastings County, wildly authentic. But on the strategic plan, it's supporting people and our communities. Real simple. That's kind of their tagline for the strategic plan. Again, I don't know what ours is. I kind of liked when somebody suggested secluded beauty and connected community. I think we are unique within the 14-member county of Hastings. I don't know that, you know, our tagline should necessarily be the same as somebody else's, but I think we should have one.
I'm in agreement with the idea of a contest. It involves our residents in making the decision on being involved and having ownership.
This would be the thing that you see when you drive in, the new sign. Tudor and Cashel, secluded beauty, connected community, or whatever it is. I don't know. I'm throwing that out there as an example. Anyway.
Who would run the contest and when would the timeline be for that? So we're not carrying the strategic plan on for months and months?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. We've got a strategic planning committee. I'm just providing feedback to that committee right now that can take it away and think about it. I'm not necessarily suggesting we're going to solve that today, but that's my feedback.
So noted, thank you.
Did anybody else have any comments on the covered page? Okay, the next page is the land acknowledgement. Does anybody have any comments on that? Well, I do. I don't know why we have this here. I don't think I've seen a strategic plan for anybody in Hastings County that the first page inside the cover page is a land acknowledgement. I understand the purpose of land acknowledgements. I understand reading them at the beginning of regularly scheduled meetings and so on and so forth, but I don't understand why the very first page in our strategic document is the land acknowledgement. So if you want my feedback, I would take that out.
I was the one who brought this forward, and I actually found it in the Hastings County strategic plan, I believe. I think that's.
Well, I'm looking at the strategic plan right now. And I'm not seeing a land acknowledgement. I sat through the Hastings County strategic planning
Okay, I gotta look at it.
process and the approval at council. I don't remember there being a land acknowledgement. So anyway, I'm giving you my feedback. I don't know why we're sort of putting this right out there as the first page of our strategic planning document. I don't think it's about that. I think this is about everybody in the community. And not highlighting the indigenous people.
I have the Hastings County Strategic Plan up in front of me, and their first page is the land acknowledgement.
Yeah.
And somebody, I believe it was you, Mr. Mayor, that follow sort of what the county strategic plan, you know, take initiative from that.
Okay, well, I'll stand corrected. I guess the thing that I find odd about this is that, you know, we've had communications from the Algonquins. We've asked them to come here and speak to us. They don't seem to want to do that. They just want to send us stuff and ask us to do things, but they don't want to really come and participate in a council meeting. And at some point in time, I just think it needs to be a two-way street, not a one-way street. So that's my opinion. If this council chooses to go ahead with a land acknowledgement as the first page of its strategic plan, then so be it. But that's my feedback.
Also, another piece of feedback from this, I think on the where it's talking about the Haudenosaunee, I think we should take the phonetic pronunciation out. That was meant for whoever's reading it at the top of the meeting, and just go with the Haudenosaunee as written there, the part that's in brackets.
I like the idea of our community and vision and mission being top of the page, like the first thing we see. This is who we are and what we stand for, what we represent. I think that's more important to our community. As far as page order, I haven't dissected what our community says and necessarily, I'm not referring to the content necessarily, but I believe that is a much better in picture of who we are first.
More pertinent information.
Thank you, yes.
Okay, any other feedback on page 2?
Mr. Mayor, I don't know if you're allowing it there. Pat, our committee member, is indicating he'd like to add something.
I don't know, am I muted still?
No.
Oh, hello, everyone. My only point, if you're going to have that land acknowledgement, it seems out of place in that it's the way you would read it at a meeting, and this is a report, and it just doesn't seem to fit for that reason. If you reworded it, like we're gathered here today, we're not gathered. Every individual is reading this at a different time in a different place. So it just, I can see where it came from. It's obviously taken out of context from a presentation given at a meeting. So if you do
I
decide,
can tell you exactly where it's come from. It's come from every meeting. I sit down and I read the land acknowledgement.
exactly.
And the acknowledgement I read is exactly that one there. And so
Yep.
it's been lifted out of one of my scripts, which is fine. And point taken, Pat, if it doesn't fit the document because it's the land acknowledgement that gets read at a meeting. So
That was my only comment.
yeah, no, I hear you.
Thank you for allowing that.
So can I make a motion to remove page 2?
Or change the order.
Well, I don't think we need to take, I think this is about providing feedback to people
Mhm.
who are on the committee, who are working on this document. I don't know that we're gonna go through and do motions on every page, Deputy Mayor, but
So to Pat Stallard's comment is that, yeah, it's the way it's positioned is not correct, but where it should be, what I think we ought to do is provide the report writers to integrate it. The fact that part of our strategic plan is that we acknowledge the lands of the Indigenous people. Just one sentence. That's all we need to do, and incorporate it as part of our overview of the strategic plan.
I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Like I'm thinking, like, if we're looking at this from a report writing perspective, there should be some degree of an executive overview of the plan and introducing the main components of it. That's what I think ought to be here, and that can include the tip of the hat to the Indigenous people.
Yeah, and I know the next page is the message from the mayor. I haven't drafted a message, but there's been a suggestion that maybe I should put a message on the front end of this document. I'm happy to put something together. It would be very general. And I'll put a question mark here when I'm thinking about my comments about it, the Indigenous point.
Good idea.
So do people think there should be a message from the mayor in here? Or should it be a message from the council?
first thought is it would be appropriate for you to speak on behalf of Kingston. So I think that-
I'm happy to put something together. I will do it, just like putting together the tax message. I'm happy to do that. And then the next page is a message from the CAO. Nancy, how do you feel about that?
I've seen different ones where there's just an overall one from the upper staff and council together. I think that, I don't know if I need to have my own page.
Okay.
I think so because of just the council sort of oversees everything, but you're the one who is going to implement this plan. And I think it's really important that, you address that, yes, we've put this together. We will follow it. We are excited, to move on. Any strategic plans that I see, typically there is a message from the mayor and typically there's a message from the CAO.
Okay. Our community, page 5. Any comments, questions, observations on this one? I hate to be the only one I have some. So I found it really interesting. We got a core population of 740 residents. Occupying 352 of its 758 total private dwellings. That's the first time I've ever seen anything like that. 758 total private dwellings. What does that mean? Does that include cottages? Does it include seasonal residences? Does it include? What does it include? I find it really interesting that only 352 of the 758 total private dwellings are occupied. What's happening with the other 400 of them? Are they not occupied? I don't
It's the difference between seasonal and full-time. From where the information is pulled from.
Well, I just think that occupying 352 of 758 is confusing to me. I would suggest you take it out. 740 core residents, it's a 26.3% increase, and the numbers swell during the summer months with seasonal residents and tourists. I don't know if you could say swell during the summer months to, I don't know, 2,500? I don't know that we have a number there.
I don't think we do. Not something that we do.
I just thought 352 of 758 total private dwellings looked odd. The first thing that I would say when I listen to the Ontario government's mandate to build 1.1 million homes or whatever it is, guess what? And Shell's got 400 that are already built and nobody's occupying them. That's kind of where my head went. Anyway, that's my feedback. And then I come down to this, the last sentence, the last two sentences. Historically rooted in forestry, water-based recreation, hunting, and trapping, these industries remain pivotal to the township's economy. Is that a true statement? Is forestry pivotal to our economy? Water-based recreation pivotal. I mean, I know there's still forestry. I know there's water-based recreation. I know there's hunting. I know there's trapping. I just don't know how these things are pivotal to the township's economy. I mean, Nancy said it to me many times when it comes to snowmobiling and snowmobile trails. All that does is bring cost to our township. It doesn't bring revenue or benefit. And I get that. I do understand that seasonal residents are a big part of our economy. They drive a significant portion of our tax base. I don't know how much of the tax base is driven by hunting and trapping anymore. I don't know that. So I'm just throwing it out there. Are these things pivotal to the township's economy? Because if they are, I would say, what are we doing to grow them? You know, what are we doing to make sure that we're maximizing the benefit to our economy from trapping? I mean, I remember the days when you used to be able to go into stands and, you know, Fern and Stan would put the ink dye on a skin and a pelt. He'd walk in there and be a guide. He'd have all his pelts. He'd bring them into stands and he was stamping them so that they were registered and then he could sell them. I remember those days. I don't know that that happens anymore.
I think the only traffic is nuisance speakers.
Visible business. Is the only.
I'm not trying to be argumentative here. I get forestry was a big part of what happened in this area years ago. I think forestry now is just all about cleaning up, you know, the mess that we get when these storms hit. But I don't know how much real forestry goes on in our township.
And I don't know if there's a huge economic benefit from that forestry coming our way. I know
Right.
costs are fixed, the roads are down bad.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's another thing, it's a cost, but is it a real benefit? I don't know how many of the people that do the work here actually live here, or they live outside of Tudor and Shell. I don't know that. Anyway, those are that's my comment there. And then the last thing was, notably, the highest elevation in Hastings County lies en route to Cashel Lake within our township. That's an interesting fact. I don't know why that's so important to put it right there. But you know,
We're the high point of the county.
so what?
We want to come and see the whole county, stand on the hill.
So what? What does that have to do with our strategic plan? I mean, I think it's great. I often get a kick out of people saying to me, "Oh, well, you know, it's just past the hole in the wall." Where's the hole in the wall? And I've had so many people explain that to me here, where I can find it on Hastings Road and Highway 62. Anyway, I just thought it's an interesting fact, but I just didn't think it was like the number one thing to be putting out there about our community.
Is there any opportunity to get some feedback from council as what do you think your community is wonderful for? Like, what would you like to promote about your community?
Well, I go back to the tagline: secluded beauty, connected community. If that's our tagline, I think about that. The person that sent that to me, I thought had actually thought about it a lot. We are a secluded area within Hastings County. It's very secluded. In fact, I would say there's parts of it that are quite isolated. And you know, we're secluded in this beauty, and we're connected. We're connected by our roads. We're connected by our community center and our programs that we have here. So that's what and it's a great question, Kerry. When I keep coming back to what is Tudor and Cashel, somebody says to me, "Well, what is Tudor and Cashel?" It's all about secluded beauty and connected communities, or something like that.
Well, I like to go back to these population numbers in terms of how many, do we have a breakdown between, has there been an increase since 2016 in the number of full-time residents?
Yes.
It's gone from
Okay.
586 to 740.
That's the full-time residents. That's not including their seasonal.
Correct,
Or
but that's people like, for example, myself. When I moved out of Toronto, I let MPAC know that I was now a full-time resident here in Tudor and Cashel. Tick.
Right. So that's what I'm trying to get to is in terms of, do we have some metrics that we can attach to our community in terms of our community is growing in the number of full-time residents. And if we get some demographics on that in terms of what is that age bracket, because that's all going to guide us in terms of what services we need to provide. What is the attraction here? Now, offhand, we've had conversations, the fact that people are choosing to come to Tudor and Cashel. They're converting their seasonal residences into full-time accommodation for their retirement years. So if that's true, I believe it to be, then that's going to guide us in terms of how is our community growing? What services do we need to provide to these people? What is the allure of attracting people to Tudor and Cashel for retirement reasons? And I think
I think part of that is answered in the citizen survey, which I thought was really quite, some good information in there. There were 74 people responded. And 47 of them, it was their principal residence. And that would be of that group of 500 and something people or 700 and something people. And 45% were secondary. So it's very clear in the citizen response that you've got principal residences and secondary dwellings. And they both participated in that.
And if you want to talk about the pivotal economic benefit, it is those individuals who are investing in, the trades to rehabilitate their properties, grow their properties. That translates into building permits. That also translates into increased impact values, which there increases in the tax base. That's where you're going to get the economic benefit from.
Yeah, and maybe that's that 406 dwellings that are not occupied. If those 406 dwellings all of a sudden become occupied full time, our assessed values are going to go up significantly. When you look at the age split of the people who responded, 43% were in that bracket of 59 to 77. 21% were in the bracket of 44 to 58. And so this is not a community for young people. It's a community for older and retired people.
Might I just have a comment?
Sure.
Hello, I don't know if any of you caught something on the CBC. They were reporting, I'd say around midweek, and it did quite a bit of information on it, but it's a topic you can research, and it's called NORCS, and it stands for Naturally Occurring Retirement Communities. It's something that the University Health Network, among other large think tank medical, health aligned people, have really been researching and developing plans around. It's been tested in a number of communities in the US, particularly in New York and other places. There's a lot of information online. I don't need to go into it, but essentially they had a couple of numbers that they used to define such a community. And I think it was something along the lines, if your community has more than 50% people in a certain age group, and I think it was 50 or older, then essentially you've already become a naturally occurring retirement community. And one big aspect or dimension of this they talk about is the ability to age in place, that people don't want to go to nursing homes by choice and retirement homes and long-term care. They would rather stay in their homes as long as they can and have a community that can support that kind of living. And I would bet you if you asked we don't have time now to go back in time, but if you'd asked questions along those lines in our questionnaire, a lot of people probably would have connected to that and said, yeah, that's why I've come here. I don't want to be in a busy city where I'm run off the road and there's lots of traffic and there's pushy people. I want a
Well,
quiet
Pat,
place.
sorry,
where-
I've got to, I
Yeah.
just, I gotta interrupt you because when I went through the citizen survey, there were a lot of questions that were asked, around healthcare and housing and environment and accessing information and people responded to all those things. And when we know that, these people are sort of in that age bracket of whatever, it's that group that's responding to this. So I think it's kind of clear to me that, the feedback we got is directed to what this aging population is looking for.
I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying it all points to that's what we have become. There are people who have lived here all their lives and have no intention to ever leave. They want to stay here.
Correct.
And then there are others like myself and others, many others, who have said, this is a beautiful place to come to and live your retirement years. You can go away, you can go on a trip, but you can always come home to here.
Yeah. Okay, well, keeping with the theme of providing feedback on every page. Did anybody else have anything else they wanted to offer on our community page? I thought the statement around community life thrives through recreational offerings centered around the Gilmore Community Center and the Millbridge Playground, bolstered by a robust culture of volunteerism. I'm just not sure about that statement, that our community thrives through recreational offerings. I think it's part of it, but anyway, that's my.
I'm not sure it thrives through recreational offerings because a lot of the recreation is done by the individual. It's not. We do offer programs, we do offer recreation through the center, but
I know that my community life at Jordan Lake does not thrive through recreational offerings.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
yes,
Is I think it's they are nice to be there and they're a key part of having a connected community and all that kind of stuff. I get all that. I just don't think that our community thrives through those things. I can't think of one thing in the Millbridge Playground that I can even tell you has happened there that I would have even known about. But anyway, that's just my feedback. I think this next page is a key one. This is the vision and the mission statement. And I've been through many of these strategic planning sessions and the vision I think is a very important part of a strategic plan, because the vision is, what do you want to accomplish? And I think one of the best examples of that was, what was Microsoft's vision? Does anybody remember that from biz school or anything? That Microsoft's vision was a computer on every desk and in every home.
Mhm.
That was their vision. The mission is a statement of how you achieve that vision. And I looked at the vision we've got here to foster a vibrant rural community where all feel valued, connected, and empowered, while safeguarding our natural beauty and heritage for future generations. I think that's the basis of a very good vision statement here. I know Jerry's not interested in wordsmithing, but if I did wordsmith it, I might say a vibrant and sustainable rural community where all feel valued, connected. And I'm not sure what "and empowered" means. What does that mean? Empowered to do what? So I think it's the basis of a very good vision statement. That's my feedback. The only thing I would like to say is, have it say a vibrant and sustainable. Because I think vibrant and sustainable is very aspirational. Given everything that's going on right now in the province of Ontario, having a sustainable community is aspirational. And so that's my feedback on that one. The mission statement. Now, this should be a general statement of how you will achieve the vision. To enrich the lives of all by building community resiliency. I'm not sure I understand what community resilience, economic well-being, and environmental stewardship. So this is the statement of how you will achieve that vision. Well, I know that strategies are things that you use to actually meet your mission and achieve your vision. Does anybody have any comments on the mission? Councillor Holloway?
Well, resiliency speaks to how we recover from all the disasters and things that happened, right? So we wanted to make sure that we're able.
Okay.
But I don't know if it's important. Should go without saying, no. That's my thought on that one.
Well, it's just like building community resiliency. I understand the resiliency example you just gave with recovering from natural disasters, building community resilience.
Beyond that,
I think it ties to your sustainability too, right? Resiliency is being able to adapt to the changing environment. And back to your scene, sorry, to speaking. But back to your seniors living at home, right? So if you're creating community resiliency, then you would be kind of adapting so that your community can stay where they want to be.
healthcare and
Yeah.
services and.
It's just a really broad statement to get there. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Carrie, but that's how I kind of felt it was laid out there.
Yeah, I think you're right. And we looked at a number of things and we didn't want to get really wordy on the mission statement. So we were kind of generalizing everything in terms of, what came back from the feedback on the survey and that sort of thing.
Because the economic well-being is such an important piece of this. Nothing else can happen without that being this.
What is economic well-being?
To me, this is the sustainability piece. Are we able to
Finance
what we have? Yes, grow, but still maintain the lifestyle that we've come to enjoy by living here.
So it's township economic well-being.
Yes.
When I read it, I thought it was the lives of all and the economic well-being of all. And I thought, I'm not sure that
I thought it was what we're doing as a municipality.
to enrich the lives of all.
Are we responsible for the individual or responsible for the township?
Maybe it's the word community that's throwing us off. Maybe it should be to enrich the lives of all by building township resiliency, economic well-being, and environmental stewardship. It's the township that.
Yeah, because I was tripping over community economic. How can we possibly contribute to the economic well-being of individuals?
I agree with you. Well, yeah, like that's at our level of government, that's not our mandate.
It's not within our
Uh,
scope.
right.
It can't be. But
So do you-
financial management and proper stewardship of the economics of the township, that is within our scope.
Yes.
I agree. So it's the word community, I think it's kind of hanging me up.
So do you like to enrich the lives of all by building township resiliency, economic well-being, and environmental stewardship?
I think that's better, but
Definitely it's got the right direction, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll take it back and
that's the
work on that.
feedback. Does anybody else have any other comments on mission and vision? I just personally think this is the most important page. Next to the tagline of, what we are, the vision and the mission, because whenever I think of anything we do in this community or anything that gets brought before council, I always sort of think it needs to pass through that high level filter of, does it meet the vision? Is it going to contribute to a vibrant community? Is it going to contribute to a sustainable community? Is it going to contribute to people feeling valued, connected, empowered? Still not sure what empowered, like, I think you're empowered when you say, I'm going to stand up and run for council. You're empowered to do stuff like that, but I'm not quite sure that word empowered. Anyway.
Yeah,
I
taking
would-
out the empowered. And would you be able to sort of give us your vision and mission for the township, and we can work with that as well?
Well, I think I already have. I think I
Okay,
just.
well,
I
I've
think
been
I did
taking
it.
notes. I've got it.
I'm taking notes too.
Okay, we'll go back and rework it. How about?
And I've had the opportunity to go through some economic development sessions at a couple of different conferences and the first thing people see about it, what's going to draw you here? Why do you want to be there? What makes you want to go there? And that's why I think, as our mayor has pointed out, this is such an important piece. Why do I even want to consider community? I know when we bought our land up here, we were searching all over the province. And it was a combination of a few things that drew us here. I'm sure that's true for everybody, but
Well, it's a resilient township,
yes.
financially sustainable.
Yeah.
And environmental stewardship.
Right.
Economic well-being that's a mouthful. Like. Anyway,
I think that vision and mission should be like page 2 of every gate, right? It should be the first thing saying, okay, and then you get into about our community.
well, I certainly think something like that should be before a land.
Yes.
Well, I think if we're
Well-
talking about the township, I think the economic well-being to me is we take that out and put something along the lines of providing best value of services, or it's about the value, right? And what we're providing. So and that's what this council, I think, is, what we've been endeavoring to do is always providing the best value for the tax dollars.
I think that's a good point. Okay, so we've kind of beaten that one up and given the committee a bit to think about. Values. Anybody have any comments on the values page?
Hey, why don't you just start?
I don't have anything to say on this one.
Oh, okay.
Other than I think it's a great list of values.
Yeah.
I would not disagree with any of them.
Mr. Mayor, can I just acknowledge that another member of our committee has now joined us? Flavian has joined us as well.
Oh,
Hi.
Fabian,
Hi, nice to see you. Nice to meet everybody.
how are you?
Not too
And
bad.
that
Good.
means we have all but one member of our committee on this call to hear the feedback from council and to take forward.
Okay, so page 8. We're now on to Township of Tudor and Cashel Public Services. Any comments, questions? It seemed like a pretty comprehensive list of what we do.
Like, I'm not, yeah. So maintenance of the local road network and then snow removal. Why break those out? And why it's not just maintenance.
Okay, so
Like management, is that what you would prefer?
Yeah, road management. They-
So I would say public works management, and that would include roads, waste.
well, it's like Deputy Mayor often says, you know. People want to know that their roads are maintained, they got a place to dump their garbage. And they can call an ambulance. And they can call a fire truck. Those are the kinds of things that you keep saying, right?
Much for basics. Everything else is frills.
But it's management, right? Because, for example, replacing Landmine Bridge is not maintenance. That is a management issue that needs to be project managed and all the way through. So that's planned for and such. So I just take the offense to just, it's not just maintenance. Much more than that.
And there's no mention of the clinic.
I think it's more because it's not our, like, we just lease the space to them. I don't know, like, there was other things too, like the property assessment and stuff like that. It was a hard list to make because there's things that we don't do it, but we kind of.
Because it's following,
I think that's a good one.
well, the clinic, I think, is
But-
really important. It's a mission statement with some of the other things that make our community sustainable. We've got a retirement community, people want to stay here, live here, but we don't have any medical.
Right, but we don't have any control over that, right? They could pull it out of here.
Right.
We just provide them space to do it, but it's not something that we have any say in happening.
But if we rephrase it as community and wellness programming, then that's all inclusive, right? So that includes any of our community programming that we have in place, our wellness programming. It's coordinating that.
That would cover it then.
Yeah, I think there should be something like that on here. And that's equally as important as economic development. And we don't have an economic development department. We're just part of, Hastings County economic development.
It is, and really, quite honestly, because I sit on those, and the activities that is very minor, because we have 2 or 3 businesses that are storefront businesses, and then we have a number of tradespeople within the area. But in terms of stimulating other economic development, I don't think it's a huge thing of what we do.
So we'd like to see something on here about community well-being, or because the feedback is what I'm hearing.
Okay.
Page 9. I guess my question is, would this page actually be in the document itself? Or is this just provided for information.
I've seen it in a lot of them, but I've also, people like to sort of know what the process is that the township went through, but it's not mandatory. But I think citizens like to see, you know, how did you do this? Like, what was the process?
Maybe more at the end.
I was gonna say,
Put it
the last page sort of thing, going, yeah, this is how we got everything that was
Yeah.
before us. here,
I
right?
think
All the other 20 pages were done because of
Yeah.
this page.
See, I would
Okay.
put this in a, like I have appendix to this. This would go in the appendix in the overview at the beginning of the document. You acknowledge the fact that the process can be found in the appendix. These are the 5 pillars that we're going to focus on. Tip of the hat to the land acknowledgement. And then that's how I handle this. And there may be a few other pages in here that we might want to throw in an appendix. And where this is important is for future councils that they're going to refer back to this document to see what was the process at the time that this was created.
Okay, page 10. Strategic pillars. Comments, questions?
I like the way that you've laid this out with the 4 strategic pillars. I think it encapsulates the main areas of focuses. I have further comments once we get into the details of these, but I do like how you've laid these out.
Yeah, I like it as well. I had a couple of questions. Under quality of life, community well-being, housing. Is housing a focus of this this township and this council?
It could be going forward,
Mhm.
meaning we have properties that we could encourage to be multi-unit housings, that piece over here beside that real all that, where, you know, I think going forward, that could be a viable part of what we're going. I think it's almost, I don't want to say in the works, I think it's being looked at this stage of the game, right? I think it's something that we're not sure where it's gonna go, but we have something we can offer to an entity that might want to do something to do, right? Yeah, so I feel.
Yeah, no, and maybe it's just the ordering here, like housing's the number 1 thing on our strategic pillar for quality of life and community well-being. I would suggest it's not. I would suggest that maybe recreation and leisure should be number 1, healthcare number 2, safety and security number 3, and housing at the end. Just the order of it, that's all.
Well, I think it depends on the lens that you're using for housing. If you look at it from the point of perspective as, you know, helping our residents and our property owners to make improvements with their properties, then yeah, I think it should be high in the list because we want to do that. It's in our benefit to help people, you know, bring their properties up to standards, bring them up to code, and make that investment within their real estate.
And when we were working on this as a committee, we actually had a lot of discussions about order here. We decided that this is not a ranked order. It was impossible because of all the arguments we're hearing now. Some people see different things as important. These were just a list of them not in any ranked order.
May I mention something? I was just looking through and we've got housing as one of the items on the pillars, but we didn't mention it at all in our action plan. So I think we thought we were going to take it out for some reason. So I'd like to have discussion around that at some point.
Well, I think it should be included for the reasons I just articulated.
Yeah, I think there's a number of reasons why it stays there, right?
Maybe we should just make these all in alphabetical order, so there's no assumption that they're a ranked
That's what I'm
order.
That's what I was gonna say, is do it alphabetically and then.
Yeah,
Well, that's what you did with your services. You put them in alphabetic order.
Yeah.
I wondered why, under governance and finance, we had community engagement and customer service. I wasn't quite sure I understood that under governance and finance versus having it under quality of life and community well-being. And then where is asset management? Is that under fiscal responsibility? Is that what we mean by fiscal responsibility? Asset management? And then my last question on this would be under economic development and technology, digital platforms. What does that mean? Economic development and technology, and we've got digital platforms. What is that? Is that the website?
More
What is-
access to ways to do things electronically, I think, like being able to submit payments and that sort of thing. I think is where it was going.
Yeah, sort of the social media website, you know, making sure that the township is well connected to the community through digital platforms.
Making information available.
Council meetings.
Okay.
But it also could be viewed from the perspective of ensuring or working towards, you know, equal network access across the entire township for its residents.
and that should almost go in, that part should almost go under quality of life. Yeah, in this day and age, that we have access to internet.
Okay. Any other feedback? Municipal infrastructure. I had one comment on this. When did we get a snow blower? We have- Yeah, well, I don't know, just I didn't know we had a snow blower.
I was just choosing pictures. That can be changed.
Did anybody have any comments on page 11?
The summary paragraph, I'm finding it hard to relate to what we're just talking about here. Shouldn't it be more along the lines of making sure that ensuring, you know, year-round access or access across the community, or safe and reliable access across the community, something along that line, and in relation to the infrastructure that we have for getting around. As opposed to, it's kind of a blah blah statement.
No, that's good feedback. Anybody else have any feedback for the committee?
Put our new GM with a plow on it, not that snowblower.
Pictures are great, but they should be pictures of our community,
Stuff we actually.
stuff we actually have.
Do you have those pictures available?
Yes, yes.
Counselor Holloway says yes.
Take a shot of it. Workshare and do it. Three plows sitting, three dumps sitting right in front of it.
I
It's
take
radio.
pictures of the works crew one day and I can give an update that if we need to. Good quality. We do have.
I don't know if we want to put crew,
No,
Understood.
but it's not of our equipment, you know, like people always go by our taxi, well, there's a $400,000 piece of equipment, there's a $500,000 piece of equipment. Couple of nice shots of our dump.
Page 12. So these are now, what are these? I understand the strategic pillar number 1, municipal infrastructure, and then we talked about what that is. And then these are things that we're going to do. Is that right? Are these strategies now?
Yeah.
Action items.
Well, I, for one, will be very happy when we see a finalized asset management plan.
we're waiting to have an FPAC meeting to get it going.
My concern with, it's not with the action items, it's with the timelines. A lot of these are pegged for Q3, Q4, 2024, and I don't know if that's going to be completely doable. And so I think may need to pass again a realistic view in terms of when these things can be expected to be done. And Nancy's going to have a big input on that too, in terms of there's a lot of things that are going to be falling to the CAO.
Nancy was part of all the discussions as we created these, and she did acknowledge that, and we all acknowledged at the same time, that a lot of them do fall on her, but she was part of this. It wasn't, Nancy was an integral part of this committee.
Yeah. But are they aspirational dates or the timelines, or is it, are they realistic?
We will review that and as the committee and just make sure that they are and bring it back to you.
Yeah, because the strategic plan is going to be a living and breathing document, right? So it doesn't all have to be done by 2024. If there are things that need to be, what I'd like to see kind of is a prioritized list. What do we want to do? What, and also what in terms of what needs to be done first before this thing can happen, right? Because there are some certain things that are going to have prerequisites that need to be done first before the next task can be done. They, some of these things can't be done independently.
Yeah, and I think that will come out with regards to the operational plan. So maybe, you know, getting the operational plans and then having the timelines for the asset management plan sort of in 2025.
Yeah, because I want to be able to look at this document and feel, yeah, this is something that is doable, as opposed to looking at it and feeling overwhelmed that this all has to be done in this year.
Can I make a comment? This is Flavian.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. We were trying to set these timelines tying to the budget process, as well as whether we were realistic in terms of the budget process. The asset management plan, for instance, the finance committee of the council had started and done some comprehensive discussions in one of their meetings. And we were waiting to schedule a second meeting so that we can talk some more. But it looked realistic that some of the things anyways could be tied to the budget, so resources could be attached to it. Because if you're thinking about, as part of the asset management plan, here are the roads that you're going to pave as opposed to put gravel on, or here are the roads you're going to rebuild. then those could be tied and resources could be attached. So that was the thinking. And Nancy, as the councillor said, was integral part. We asked her, does it look realistic? And at the time we were having a discussion anyways, it looked realistic for her. So and the committee was going to help. The finance committee was going to help. So that was our thought process behind it.
Okay. Did we want to move on to page 14? Quality of life and community well-being.
So we're good, finished discussing 13 and 14? Or 12 and 13?
Sorry.
Yeah, I think we are. I think we've got some notes of things they want revised in those, yeah.
So under quality of life and community well-being, this is where we talk about the housing thing, and I think it starts to touch on something that Councillor Taylor was referencing. But it just, in our commitment to public security and housing. Public security and housing, I didn't quite understand what that meant. In our commitment to public security and housing by issuing building permits. I think that sentence needs work. We want to promote building permits and promote these kinds of the growth in this area, right? Isn't that what Councillor Taylor was saying? Why housing was on the list under that strategic pillar?
Part of our thought process, Mayor, was that we thought the demographics will keep increasing, and as the demographics increased and people were buying more lots and building, there would be an increase in need for building permits, and which would need supported infrastructure in terms of improving roads or building roads and so forth. So we were trying to connect it from that perspective.
I guess if somebody asked me, Mayor, please explain your commitment to public security and housing. I'm not sure if we mean, oh, our commitment to public security and housing is that everything will have a building permit and everything will be constructed in accordance with the Ontario Building Code. Maybe that's what we're talking about here, right?
That's how I would read it, as in the actual structure. Physically.
Thing. Recognizing education allows communities to thrive and progress. Are we suggesting that we should be doing something more on the education front in our community?
I think we do with I think we were kind of referencing the programs that we do.
It's education.
Well, there's the Fire Smart and with the Canada Day and different things like that.
Yeah, not so much in the youth side of it, but more just the programming that we offer.
Not in public education.
Yeah,
Not
this is
public.
not this is not boards of education at all, no.
So maybe we should just clarify that. What kind of a fish is that those guys have caught?
It's like a straight bass.
I thought it was a straight bass too. Do we have any of those in tuna chef?
Not that I know of.
Not that I know.
Hey, I got a good picture, me with a nice 4.5 pound bass at Jordan Lake. I'll give it to you, you can put that in.
Any other feedback on page 14? Page 15. These again are strategies. there's a statement in there, continued financial support for physician recruitment efforts, including funding incentives for new doctors to establish practices in the area. I mean, we're gonna just continue to keep doing that? I don't know.
I have some questions that I'm waiting to get answers for
That's right, and
on regards to how many people in our thing got into this new doctor he's setting up. They can't disclose that stuff though. So I'm gonna launch a freedom of information app request to say, tell me how many people. I mentioned to them, and it probably didn't come up again this afternoon. That, yeah, you know, I have no problem. Personally, I have no problem investing if it benefits taxpayers of the township, right? Like, I mean, we're dying, we're getting older. We're getting old up here. And medical is one of the biggest things that we can encourage to
well, you value.
be available.
Rather than continue, it's just or continually evaluate.
That I'd be okay with.
I didn't hear what that was, sorry.
Continually evaluate financial support for physical recruitment.
Okay.
I don't,
Thank you.
Yeah, because this is one that I know it gets debated at the county level. You know, we just, the other day, just approved another one. And they're the ones that are throwing up the $150,000 package for every new doctor. And so you kind of look at it, and Ontario started all this by offering, I don't know, about, let's call it 80 grand if you came to an Ontario rural community. Well, then the Ontario rural community started competing against each other, and the county of Hastings went in and said, well, you know, we'll throw another $150,000 on the table. And now you've got the townships within the county who are saying, well, we want you to be in Bancroft versus Madoc versus, and so now people are at the township level are throwing money in. You know, we threw what, 20 grand? We threw 20 grand at it. But it was directed at the one in Madoc, right?
Yes.
The doctor in Madoc.
yes.
I think we need to continue to evaluate it because it can be very expensive. And as Deputy Mayor Bridger says, are we getting bang for our buck on this one?
Okay, we've noted the evaluate part.
Any other comments on page 15? Page 16. I had a question with the last bullet point. Collaborate with environmental organizations and local authorities to address water quality issues and ensure safe recreational use of beaches and waterways.
I think they brought up.
What are you gonna do about that, Nancy? Your name's
I
beside that.
know, I think they brought up the idea of E. coli and that sort of thing at the beach, and I said that's the Hastings and Prince Edward health unit that deals with that. But I think that's why it was, is just that if something happens that I'm the one that gets to deal with it. I believe. Did I remember that correctly, that conversation?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, because it was brought up with the issues that might be around it.
Are you suggesting we have to monitor that, or through the county monitor that, or we just put up a big sign that says it's not being monitored?
No, I can give you an example, like when there was blue algae down in Glanmire. So we aren't responsible for it, but we're responsible for making sure that signage is posted and that people are made aware,
Like
right?
the Mephisto Lake Spring.
Yes, like
Did
the
we
sign that
put
we
a
have to
sign?
take out there.
We
It's
never
on my
put
desk
signage
right
up
now.
on Glen. We just put it out. Right? We never
There was a
put-
sign that went up, yeah.
Huh?
Okay, so we're not looking to establish our own public health authority.
No.
Not at all.
Okay. Any other comments on that page?
The picture.
Oh, I thought that was Nancy in her canoe the other week.
I could put one of mine. I have some.
Doesn't look like
I have lots of good pictures. I'll make sure that gets populated.
shells. Big one.
Page 17.
I do kayak, not canoe.
This is definitely Nancy's hand at the computer. I know that. That has to be.
I don't think the link to yours is very. She only has plans on her Windows 7.
But she couldn't get your picture.
And it's a left hand.
Are we running Macintosh?
I don't know if you want a picture of my office, and that's,
No, let's do the nice office out front. You can sit in there with pictures.
So I'm gonna ask a question. I'll ask it here under governance and financial management. The way this strategic plan is written, does it give us permission to explore additional shared services arrangements and potentially amalgamation discussions? And I'm not suggesting that that's what we're going to do, but when I think about the economic challenges that we face as a small township in a large county, and the ever increasing government regulation that's coming down the pipe, the lack of what I consider to be a solid succession plan for staff in a small township like this. I think part of sustainability, accountability, fiscal responsibility is exploring any and all options that we can continue to be secluded beauty, connected community, vibrant, where's that mission statement again? Vision statement, vibrant and sustainable communities.
Right, but isn't all that part of our fiscal responsibility that we explore? You know, like we have explored a number of things about shared services and we tried, right? And this council has tried, previous councils has tried, in going forward, and I don't know if we need to put the A word in there, that's for sure.
Well, I'm not suggesting that we're going to do it, and you can't do it anyway without proper public
No,
consultation and all that kind of stuff. But doesn't mean it shouldn't be something that this council entertains if it's for the betterment of the people in our township and a sustainable
Yep, but I think that
community.
all comes under the fiscal responsibility is that this council is, and that all of us are trying to do what is best for our the taxpayers, the residents of this township going forward. And if that involves a shared service with somebody else, then so be it. And we're not sitting on our hands, not doing anything about it.
Okay, so you don't think it in any way restricts us from thinking about those?
No,
things?
I think it encourages us.
Effectively, would not cover.
That's a good point. It would.
I think it encourages us to do what's best for our, to get the most bang for our
The
buck.
cost-effective way of doing this job is by shared services or by, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
Yep.
Any other comments on page 17? Page 18? Hearing none, page 19. page 20. Had a couple of comments on this page. The end of that first paragraph, providing access to financial resources and credit. So job creation opportunities, business and entrepreneurship, and providing access to financial resources and credit. What does that mean? What are we gonna do? We're gonna provide tax relief if somebody locates the new Tesla battery plant in Gilmore? What are we gonna do here?
I think we were talking about having on your website different local resources and provincial resources that were available to businesses. So they could just go to your website under, economic development. These are different resources that you could use to get finance, to build your business, to get support. So we'd be referencing the Hastings County Business Advisor.
Yeah, so that would be, okay, that'd be a hot link to the Hastings County Economic Development Department.
We shouldn't create something like that ourselves or duplicating work. The other thing that came to mind too was a digital platform providing residents with convenient access to municipal services. We had top municipal services, yes, but it came somewhere here. I read about a database or a digital database for local businesses, and we had talked about that at our communications meetings. And there are some concerns about that with regard to keeping it maintained and up to date and vetting those businesses. And we didn't feel comfortable doing that at the time because of some of those things.
And we talked more about that because that was brought up in the conversation. And I think that it was like putting some sort of a disclaimer that, the township's not responsible for basically vetting these groups, and that this is just a resource for finding those sort of resources.
Our thought also, sorry. Okay. I was going to say, my
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Flavian.
Okay, thank you. Our thought at the time was as more and more people, new people move into the township, knowing who all the professional people, tradespeople who are in locally. We were focusing more on supporting local economic growth instead of just calling Bancroft or Belleville or Kingston and having tradespeople from there coming over. We felt there was a rich resource of tradespeople within the county, and perhaps access to them would be good. And there were no risks, no commitments from the township's perspective. It is just a place where you list your business, and what would happen is the fact is that people who use you for whatever reason, they can even have an opportunity to put a little rating or their experience on it. So it was more of a self-managed kind of a system we were thinking about. But the main idea behind it was supporting the local businesses and local before you went out. So we knew, as the councillor mentioned, you don't have a lot of businesses here, hard to attract them when Kingston is close by, Belleville is close by, Bancroft is close by. But we thought maybe why not make use of the existing people and build them up a bit. So that was the thought process.
Kind of opposed to all the signs on the side of the road too, like the handmade signs you see. I cut wood down, I plant trees, I do whatever ground maintenance. A place for people to have other than the side of the road.
It's called Facebook. Somebody needs an electrician. You've seen it on your on Steenberg and that, right? And anybody wants anything, it goes out there and you get recommendations from the people who have used these services, right? So
maintaining our website and even our social media pages takes an incredible amount of work. And to have something like this user would create some bigger issues and cost, of course. We have our bulletin boards here that we can continue to make use of and adjust how we offer that information. My concern is just how was this going to be implemented? Absolutely, support local business, support local contractors, without a doubt, that makes sense. But it was the cost and implications and time that would be required to do something that provide a service like this.
Since we discussed it, I've seen Limerick has started something, so I could always investigate how they do it.
Just personally, if you ask me, oh, can I recommend an electrician, can I, whatever, right, like somebody I have hired, well, that's basically what. The Facebook site does for Jordan Lake, for Steenberg Lake, and I don't know about the other lakes, but. That's where you go, right, like we put it out there and ask the question and
We only built our house 5 years ago, and everybody we used was from here, everybody. My husband did 90% of the work, but everybody we hired came from here. And we didn't know anybody here, so it's not.
you ask anybody.
Well, Hydro told us who to hire for our hydro meeting. And our neighbor told us about the guy that dug the hole, so yes.
Yeah, okay, so it's.
So I know we brought it up, we talked about it at the CCAC's. Nancy just said she's going to investigate what Limerick has done, because they have just started one.
I think the notion is really noble, but I think the administration of it is going to be a little bit difficult for us because, people could cry foul, right? If we only, if we create this board that has local trades that are in Tudor and Cashel. But what happens if you got a local electrician over in Limerick who wants to be in the board, or somebody in Bancroft that wants to be in the board? Should we be promoting those taxpayers that are in neighboring townships on our board? And that's where I think things get a little bit messy with having this kind of a directory of services. I don't know. I think I like the idea notionally, but I think we need to kind of figure this out a little bit more. And it would be interesting to see what Limerick is planning, and maybe that's something we can collaborate on.
Okay.
The other part of the agriculture and agribusiness development, am I missing something here, or do we have farms in our community?
We have roll-offs.
Do we have farms?
I think they're just personal. Right?
Hobby farms and things like that, but that's why why are we calling that out as a?
Yeah, that seemed to me to be just a little bit over the top.
Yeah.
Agribusiness and.
I agree with job creation opportunities, and not sure about I would want that rephrased from financial resources and credit. We're not a bank. We're not providing credit. We're not doing anything of that nature. So I'd like that removed completely.
Isn't that something we should consider? Using our reserves to load high interest loans?
No, we don't have. Anyway, we're not a bank.
I like how somebody said provide the hot links or something. I think if I was moving to a community and I was new, I would go to the township site and say, what can they help me with economic development? I want to start a business. Where do I go? So I think that's what they were meaning in providing access to the resources. So maybe not financial resources and credit, but access to resources available.
The how-tos.
Yeah, that's fine. I thought the paragraph on tourism was interesting. Through tourism initiatives. What initiatives do we have today for tourism? I don't think we have any. Do we want any? I don't know. I keep hearing that tourism just costs us money. It doesn't generate any revenue. Through tourism initiatives, we showcase our community's unique attributes by attracting visitors and bolstering local business. Tourism and local branding strategies involve promoting local tourism and cultural heritage.
Well, that's partly what the Hastings Economic Development Committee is doing as a whole for all of Hastings County. But are we going to start showing up at the Cottage Life show twice a year with a booth for Tudor and Cashel? Like,
No. No, quite frankly, we don't want tourists around here, do we?
It's a double-edged sword. You wanna get
Attract
businesses to set up and sustain themselves like Maggie's, and we've seen things come and go, right? How many times? And tourism is one of the ways to do that, but like I said, right now, like on the weekend, there must have been another poker run for ATVs. Because they were ripping down the roads, right? Sort of thing, 30 to 40 of them. And we don't have any bit, they may have gone to Maggie's, but
Does the tourism include that? Would you include the snowmobilers, the ATVs, that sort of thing? Is that considered part of tourism?
So I think there
Oh,
was
yeah.
conversation around Airbnbs and the different festivals or events that you have within your community and businesses that take people out canoeing or fishing. Those home-based businesses in
I
your
don't think we have
community.
that.
well, we have the Airbnbs, but I don't think a lot of people would like them to be advertised to start with. So yeah, I don't think we have it.
Where we don't have a lot of economic opportunity, like tourism opportunity, because we don't have that infrastructure. Like, yeah, the businesses aren't there, like the gentleman that sells wood, and maybe there's other ones hiding that we're not aware of, but I'm not familiar with any,
Because the marinas at the end of this road are not in
not in our
our
township.
we don't have marinas in our township.
No.
So, we don't have gas in our township. Come to Tudor and Cashel where you can't buy gasoline.
Good tagline.
Maybe that should be our tagline.
but our economic development opportunity, and I'll take us back to what I was mentioning earlier, is that encouraging those who view Tudor and Cashel as a place to be able to retire, a place to be able to spend their time at, or the place to be able to retire and have your grandkids visit. That's still going to spawn some degree of economic development.
Yeah.
Part of it was also the response in the survey questionnaire. We asked people what they would like by way of recreation opportunities. And this is where some of these items came up. And we were trying to kind of incorporate that into what we could do. But I think in listening to the discussion, probably connecting with Hastings and County, because we were kind of stumped with the trails, which we don't look after, but trails were listed as an important thing for folks above a certain age. So we thought, maybe a better solution.
Our growth is focusing on the increased housing and cottage potential. That's what our economic development is going from.
Yeah.
Right?
Making the roads more accessible in more places, getting permits out quickly to people to do the renovations.
Incentives offer incentives for building or renovating.
That's just it.
I'm
Okay.
also not seeing anything today so far in the plan about protection, right? Protecting it. Let's say they find they want to open up an open pit nickel mine on South Jordan Lake Road. So what are we doing about that in terms of protecting our environment and the from economic threats?
How do we do that? We try to discourage, this is the Limerick mine sort of thing coming up again, right? That brings jobs to a township, right? I mean, that's, how do you stop? We're all coming up here to die, right? No young people are staying around because there's no economic platform for them to stay. So you're gonna tell Nancy's kids that they're gonna have to move out of here because the mine isn't going up and they can't get good paying jobs at that mine? You know, I mean, you know, yeah.
So
there's environment-
it's a trade-off, Deputy Mayor Bridger, because that's what the strategic plan is to guide us, right? As to whether we're going to embrace that, if somebody comes in with a whack load of money and is going to create all kinds of jobs, but it's going to then disrupt our entire
Okay,
well-being,
but
or are we going to, if that threat makes itself evident, are we going to lawyer up and do everything that's possible to be able to thwart that threat coming in?
so this isn't a municipal purview anyway, right? A lot of this would fall outside of what we could do except voice an opinion one way or the other.
Yeah.
I just think it's something that it's like, you know what? If something comes up, the city council make a decision on the council's position on whatever is happening, right? And I don't think we need it. I don't know. It just says, yeah, then we get selectively, we're gonna let these people do this, but we're not gonna let these people do this, and it's not our purview anyway.
No, but I think we're not out actively looking to, ask Falconbridge to come here and set up a nickel mine. We're not out there looking for it. It's not part of our economic development strategy. I can tell you right now that if that ever happened in this community, I'd be gone in a heartbeat. Because I didn't come up here to be part of a mining company. That's not why I came here.
Yeah. This is why this place is here, because it was a mining and a forestry community. Right? I mean, this is how it all started. Are we gonna end up going back there? No, but
I understand how it all started, and I do understand the history, but all that's gone. And we've come along now and we said, well, we're here for this reason. But I wouldn't want to be part of a council that's out actively pursuing pulp and paper mills or nickel miners or gold miners. That's not what I'm looking for. I kind of like this, to me, this is kind of like it's a recreation retirement community, and that's why I'm here.
Can I ask a question to council with regards to Airbnbs, because I know this is a big issue and it does have to do with economic development and tourism and everything, but is there any point in putting something in about your stance on Airbnbs? Because some people are for them, some people are against them. It's going to come up in the next couple of years probably. So should that be incorporated into the strategic plan?
We don't have any quantifiable stats on Airbnbs or short-term rentals. We do have a strategy in place for STRs that was put in place last year, and we're maintaining and continuing to monitoring that. I know that recently there's been a little bit of noise and chatter on the social media. I've not engaged in that because it's all on record what we have. We have a page devoted to that. And to my knowledge, the spike that we saw in Airbnbs, particularly in our community, was due to people who were not able to travel during the COVID years, and we saw a spike in activity. That has subsided, and I know that some of the SDRs within our locale, they're struggling to get rentals throughout the peak summer months. So I'm not seeing it as a contentious issue at the moment, and we will continue to monitor it.
I don't think we need anything in there.
We're not out actively pursuing people to set up Airbnbs, though.
No, I don't. I think the cost of them doing it, we don't gain any more taxes from these expenses because they're running an Airbnb, but the costs that we incur
Go up.
I believe go up. So
So with regards to economic development and technology, that sort of strategic pillar is a little weak. Should that be incorporated into one of the other pillars?
And I agree with that. Now that we've kind of discussed this out, there's not much there to substantiate a pillar on its own.
But you do have to have something, you do need to have a plan around economic development. And what is that plan?
Participate in the county's efforts.
Fix our roads.
Like, are we actively looking for getting somebody to open a gas station? If that's what we want to do, then yeah, we can add something in here. But to my knowledge, I haven't seen any of the desire amongst this council to do that.
And
Well, I
there-
think they hung their hat on the guy up the street in Limerick getting it done.
Not long ago, I remember a council meeting we had, it was last year, I think, is about, there was some sort of plan to install charging stations and they were going to give us some cost share on that. And we all declined that. So we're not, I don't think this council is of mind to be focusing on that. Now, is that going to be part of the strategic plan? I don't know.
So in the citizen survey under the economic development, 63% or no, 86% thought attracting new business was very important to important. 97% thought it was important to promote local business. 86% thought the digital technology was important, and 77% thought market facilities for farmers and growers was important. So I think it needs to be addressed somehow, but how, the survey was done, we've got the results, but we're not addressing anything in the strategic plan with what the citizens survey has said.
Well, as far as market facilities for farmers and growers, I'm not sure what that means. If we don't have any farmers and growers in our township,
I think I think a lot of it was like a farmer's market is what they were
Yeah.
thinking.
it's a farmer's market from a consumer's perspective,
I
right?
think so.
Not from a grower or farmer's
I
perspective.
don't think so.
Yeah.
You might,
Well,
you
I
might
was,
be,
so
be surprised. Sorry.
I was going to say Madoc has like a farmer's market in their parking lot on
expansion.
62 there, like on, I think it's Friday nights or Thursday nights.
Interesting.
I
in
was
the
going
summer
to say,
months.
you might be surprised at the
And
number
they set up down at Maggie's and up at the St. Ola's.
And there is I think there is one in Millbridge, a group that go to that, but I don't know of a large enough
Yeah,
people to.
yeah, everybody wants more business, but they're still gonna go to Costco to get everything and they'll go, oh, I need a quart of milk.
But we have advertised for a market sort of thing for our Canada Day thing, and we don't get a large uptake of that.
6 people.
Yeah. So like we do try to, so like if there was a large uptake in that opportunity, then maybe we would continue it, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not sure that question under economic development was really understood by people that were answering it. Market facilities for farmers and growers. The top two box score is 99%. 99% of the people that responded said we should have that. But I don't think 99% of the people understood that we don't have any farmers or growers.
Limited.
Yeah, and I also, and I don't want this, I mentioned this earlier, that I don't want this downplay the effort that was put in putting the survey, but the survey responses was still relatively, the sampling was still relatively small for the population. So we can't overreact on the results of the survey. It's an indicator, but it's not, 100% accurate.
Well, if you're looking to merge strategic pillar 4 into another pillar, should it go in under, well, which one do you think it should go in under? Should it go in under governance and finance
Or quality of life. And
or quality of life, community
Quality of
well-being?
life.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
That probably makes most sense.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we'll have 3 strategic pillars.
And at least we have, the least maintenance possible.
Any other comments? Questions, suggestions for the consideration of the strategic planning committee? I just like to say, thank you for all the work that the team has done. It's an incredible amount of work. I thought the citizen survey was very interesting. I know it's only a small number, 74 people, but I thought it might be even less than that. So I thought that was good. There was some interesting information in there, and I think we've got the basis of a very good strategic plan here. I would suggest it go back to the committee for one more kick at the can, and then bring it forward to council. That would be my recommendation.
Duly noted.
Anyone else?
Could I ask when either the committee or council choose to announce the winners of the survey? There were 4 names drawn at our meeting we had. Has that ever been communicated?
It wasn't discussed at council. I
Yeah, I'm just
didn't know it
wondering.
was supposed to be council.
I don't think it had to be council. Council had already approved giving the certificates. I don't think we have to have them approve who got them.
I'm just wondering if they were waiting to announce it some way, sometime. Because it's been a while, so.
There's something I think we can
That'd be
discuss
up to
at
the-
our next meeting.
Might be the committee's doing.
That's what I was thought, but all right.
Okay. Is there any other discussion we want to have today on the strategic plan? Okay, hearing none, we'll close it off. We'll move on to the confirming bylaw number 2024
It's not 13, sorry.
sorry,
It's not 13. I think it's,
2024-24, isn't it?
yeah, I think so.
Huh?
Yeah, I believe so.
Is it 24? I think it is. What was our last meeting was,
Sorry, I drafted that this morning. I have to change it.
anyway. Confirming bylaw. Can I have a motion to approve the confirming bylaw that was attached?
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor Chadwick, seconded by Councillor Holloway, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll move that.
Nobody wants.
Councillor Taylor, Councillor Holloway, all in favor?
Bye.
Meeting adjourned. See you on June the 11th. Just on June the 11th, who's here?
All of us.
Yep, I'll be there.
I'll be here.
I am hoping to be here.
Well, not, I'll be virtual.
You'll be virtual. Oh, okay.
You'll be virtual soon, okay?
No, I plan to be here,
But if that doesn't
but
work.
if that doesn't work, then I will be virtual.
Can I ask, So do you want us to have all of this to you by the June 11th meeting? My understanding is you don't meet in the summer.
We don't meet in July. We meet in August.
Okay, so what, is there a time frame you'd like this done by?
June 11th is pretty close for another.
I mean, is it realistic to think that it'll be turned around and be back before June the 11th with everything else that's going on?
It's tight.
Or does we bring it forward
For August.
for August?
For August?
Yeah, let's bring it forward to the August meetings. There's something else that we held off on at our last meeting for June the 11th, wasn't there? Oh, maybe not. I forget what I used to say. All right. August.
Much going on in.
Okay,
That's it.
we'll see you on June the
Close
11th.
it. So you just did. Thank you.
I'd like to
Thanks,
thank you,
everybody.
Mary, you
Thanks.
did a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you all
Thank
very
you.
much.
And we
Bye.
for all see.
oops,
Oh, you're red.
this one.